Within a document, there are times when a particular word at the end of a line is actually truncated by using a hyphen. And you'll notice that here, if I take a look at my document, I have TAK, but ING is on the next line. So there is a little hyphen there, and you'll notice it does that anytime it reaches the end of a line, and therefore the margin, and it runs out of space. Now there is a simple way of dealing with this. We can either leave it on, which kind of makes it difficult for reading because some people need to see the entire word. So what we can do is go to the Layout tab. And in the Layout tab, you'll notice here that you have hyphenation. If I actually use the drop-down arrow, then I can choose that it doesn't take place, or that it's an automatic function, which is currently selected, by the way, with that little check mark, or I can manually set it, or of course there are other options as well. So let's take a look at the other options before we choose anything else. The other options provide that this is automatic within the document, and that's why it has a little check mark. We can uncheck that so it doesn't happen automatically. We also have here that it hyphenates words that have a capital, are all capitalized. However, that makes it very difficult to read, especially if it happens to be an acronym that we're using. And the zone itself, in other words, how much space should actually be there at the beginning before we hyphenate. And also limiting consecutive hyphenation to a specific number or none at all. So again, we can manually set this, okay? Or, and you'll notice we have all these hyphens, so what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to turn it off. And as soon as I turn it off, you notice they all disappear, but now I have lots of space here because the words didn't fit within the actual space that was needed. And if I look up here, I can actually see that many of the words that were truncated, in other words, they had been split in half with a hyphen, have now been placed on another line. Of course, if I wanted to save space, I could turn that back on again, and you notice it does make it a little difficult to see. So talking, or taking I should say, and if I turn that back off, then taking is now placed on the next line. So we can turn hyphenation on and we can turn hyphenation off. It's a very easy thing to do. One of the other things I just want to touch on very quickly here is the line numbers. Now we can also put in line numbers, and this will give us an idea of how many lines we have within a document. And of course, if there are any errors, especially if you're using a special piece of software that is looking for a particular line, then we would be able to see that. And there's a way of starting it and then also terminating it. So I'm going to turn that off just to let you know that this option also exists.